Okay, so welcome to the advising session. I'm going to share a video about our program that is rather unique to UIC and to any DPT program. So part of UIC's school is we offer a degree in biomedical visual information systems, BVIS for short. And these are people who are trained artistically, technologically, and medically. So they might develop virtual reality surgery or something like that.
Oh, wow.
So our department has teamed up with instructors from that department, and we have put together a joint project called a Health Tech Jam, and this video shows about that. Not that. Sorry.
That's okay.
Here. Here we go. Okay, so we actually, this past year, we actually did do another Health Tech Jam, and we did reach out to the community and we met with families from an elementary school, and we met together and did another Health Tech Jam and found out like what were their needs. And the groups came up with a tablet application that actually they noticed that people when they don't speak English, need a relative to come and sort of advocate for them and interpret what the doctor's saying and stuff like that. So they developed an app that would be an intake form that would be in multiple languages so the patient could advocate for themselves. And so it's exciting, I think, where we're going to figure out.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Not just our little world of physical therapy.
Yeah, just expanding upon everything.
So just to give you a little taste of our department.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is what we're going to do. I forget where you're at in your search here. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and what, how you became interested in PT?
Yeah, for sure. So I became originally interested in PT a while ago when I was a senior in high school.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So at first I wanted to be a personal trainer, and one of my old friends was telling me, like, you're too smart for that. You got to invest your time into something that will actually challenge you. And then she introduced me into physical therapy. So then I started researching it and researching majors that I could major in order to like go through that path. And then I've ended up finding kinesiology, which I'm majoring in right now.
Where are you?
I live in Chicago, but I go to DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana.
Okay.
And I'm on the pre-physical therapy track there.
And what year are you?
Junior.
So are you planning to apply this summer?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm taking the GRE this summer, in early June. So it's a process so far.
Yeah, yeah. It's a long road. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, but I'm impressed that you knew already in high school that that this was the job for you. Are you an athlete as well?
I was an athlete growing up, and as like in high school, I wrestled, and I played baseball for 6 years of my life, wrestled for 5.
Wow.
Now I'm just focusing on just strength and conditioning, athletic training. I've been doing this ever since senior year of high school until now, and just hoping to continue it, and been helping out people that I know get starting on their training. Like as soon as this quarantine hit, I just started training with my dad, so getting him into shape and everything, especially with his diabetes and everything.
Excellent. Oh, that's great. Way to go.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm going to go over the DPT program a little bit. I'm going to talk about the PT-CAS application process and how we make our decision, and just jump in when you have questions.
Okay.
Okay, so most students apply to multiple schools because they're hard to get in, unfortunately. And we want people to apply to our school that feel like our school is a good fit for them. So in order to be a good fit, there are a few things you need. One is a financial plan. So being that you're an Illinois resident, the Illinois tuition is really the best value you can find for DPT schools. So unfortunately, we don't really offer anything in the way of scholarships, but the tuition is quite low. Almost all of our students are getting loans or outside financing. Some work while they're in the program, others don't. We recommend, about 10 hours a week if you can manage that. And if you are a fitness coach, that can be really flexible hours, and a lot of our students do stuff like that. The other is a study plan. So a lot of people feel like it's the big leagues here in DPT school. So if you are used to undergrad study where you have an exam coming up and you cram for the exam at the last minute and then do really well and then forget everything and then repeat, it's a bit different in this program. It's a rigorous program. Our students say that they do best when they approach it like a job. And so they go to class for the class hours and then they study every day because the material builds on top of each other. If they waited till an exam to study, it just wouldn't work. So so they do that. And then a lot of people feel like, oh, I got into DPT school and I'm moving to Chicago and I'm going to move with my undergrad roommate who got a job in Chicago. But my undergrad roommate is going to explore the nightlife and I'm going to study. So that doesn't always work out. We have a lot of people who room with other DPT students. It's not a requirement by any means, but it has worked out for them. So you know yourself, and people in that first semester really sort of figure out how they study and rework it to fit the program. And a third thing, it's not on here, but it is class size. So some people learn really well in a huge group, and some DPT programs are about 100 students large. Others need a small group, and so our program at 60 students may be too big for some people, but our students feel like it's really the sweet spot, that it's the ideal size. They make lifelong relationships, whether they're personal or professional. PT's kind of a small world, so they make those relationships. Yeah, so they feel like it's great. They get to know everybody. The first year you're in class with everyone pretty much all the time, and then they study together, they play together. Yeah, they get very close very quickly, and it seems to be an advantage. So another advantage to our classes is that we get some people who are career changers, who are not, coming right from undergrad, and they've had other jobs before they've come. So I feel like that's such a benefit, because you get all these people's experiences in your education, because of course they talk about it. And yeah, so I feel like that also expands your learning base. You picked a great field. I'm sure you know PT is one of the 10 happiest jobs according to Forbes, and CNN Money gives PTs an A for having work that is both personally satisfying and benefiting society. And you mentioned another reason why PTs feel like it's a happy job is that it provides challenge. You get new challenges every day. You have to kind of figure out things. You're not sitting behind a desk, you have personal interaction. And there's so many different specialty areas you can dive into if you want. I think it's really a great job. This is the average salary in the Chicagoland area. Certainly you wouldn't make this right after you graduate, but I think that's more in line with 65,000 when you graduate. But the job market is great for physical therapy and really strong, growing. A lot of people don't know that the Chicagoland area is the second highest employer of PTs in the country. So it makes sense that you would get your education here where all these resources are. We're proud of our rank. We're ranked 17th in public schools that offer DPT programs, but frankly, no one's going to hire you based on the rank of the school that you got your degree from. They're going to hire you for other reasons, and I'll explain some of the things UIC has to offer in those areas. We're proud of our pass rate. 100% of our students are passing the national licensing exam. And we interview our graduates 6 months after they're graduating and find that they're all employed as PTs. I think that maybe speaks more to the industry than our school, but we'll take it. All right, so to go through the curriculum a little bit, I think I emailed you this packet, and so there's more details in there, but just to give you an overview, the first year is largely the basic fundamentals. Like I said, you're in class with all your classmates mostly. And it's just all the fundamentals, foundational stuff. Students will probably tell you that their hardest class is anatomy, but it's also their favorite class. We have a great instructor, and she's a PT, but she loves anatomy and has taught anatomy from the perspective of how you need it as a PT. So really strong. And she's just one of our professors that are so strong that they're just experts in their fields. And it's an excellent foundation for you. And even though you're in class with everyone, you do have breakout groups, you do have hands-on stuff in year one. You learn some of this stuff, and then you might go to our neighboring hospital, who was our partner, and shadow a PT, see an experience, and then come back to the classroom and say, oh, I would make this recommendation, or I would document it this way. Or so you're in a safe environment when you're trying out your ideas and realizing what you're seeing. And then we also have a faculty practice, which is really unique to DPT programs, to have both a hospital and a faculty practice. So the faculty practice is staffed by physical therapists who see patients every day, and they encourage DPT students to come over, and say you're doing you're learning about something and you want to see it in action, you just go over there, and and you can, see how they do it. So, and the other thing is, some of those PTs are professors in your program, so they're very close to the work. And yeah, so that's good for your education as well. So year 2 begins in the summer, and you have 2 heavy duty classes. One is integration and assessment. It's hands-on all the way. You're measuring range of motion. You're using all the toys and tools, the goniometers and everything. And then you have a biophysics course, which I'm told is way better than the physics prerequisite that you have to take in undergrad, because it's about the body, it's about stuff you're interested in. Yeah, so
Oh, I bet.
Students really like that course. So anyway, after these courses, then you go on your very first full-time clinical education experience. So not the little one-day excursions, but yeah, so you go on this full-time 2-week-long internship, and you can't really do a whole lot in 2 weeks. You might see the same patient twice, maybe 3 times at most. So, but what you can do is you can do the evaluation, you can do all the range of motion stuff that you've been looking at, and you get a taste of maybe a different environment than you have been in. So, so that's good. Where have you been doing your observation hours?
I did an observation hours at, there's this one place that my sister worked at. It was like a school for children with mental disabilities.
Mhm.
So I got to shadow physical therapists there and how they worked with range of motion in kids and being able to get them to work on their balance, jumping and everything like little kids would in a park and everything.
Uh-huh.
As far as everything else, so far I have 36 to 42 hours of observational hours, and I was looking to get more this spring break, but it's kind of,
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, hopefully you can get some when things free up, maybe in August or September. I encourage you to get a little bit more, maybe adult, or if you can get inpatient experience, that would be great.
oh,
But if you
definitely.
can't, we totally understand those situations. So,
Right.
yeah, well, one of our students, she had been doing all her observation hours at an outpatient clinic, and she was placed at her 2-week internship into a veterans hospital, and she didn't know what to expect. And it turned out she just loved it because the patient situations were so complex, and she loved the challenge. It was an area that she felt after this 2-week experience that, wow, maybe she would go into that field and specialty. So yeah, so that's interesting.
Okay.
We encourage you for your clinical experiences to keep an open mind, and
Yeah.
we'll talk more about that in a bit.
Okay.
All right, so in every DPT program that's accredited like ours, you'll be trained as a generalist, not in any specific specialty area. So you're trained across the board, all the areas, and so we offer in year 2 different electives that can help you go deeper into different fields. Not so much that you would get a specialty credential, but to dip your toe in a bit further than the general curriculum.
Okay.
These are electives we've had in the past. We're always looking at what we could make available that would meet our students' needs. Pediatrics isn't on here because that's taken care of in the main core courses where you actually go out and you do an assessment with children. So you kind of have a mini clinical within that course. And then some people ask me about teaching, like, why is that an elective? I don't want to be a teacher. But when you think about you're showing somebody an exercise they've never done before, you're teaching them. Also, a lot of our students are interested in paying it forward when they graduate and become PTs. They want to further the profession, so they want to become clinical instructors for other students who can come to them and observe them and shadow them. and then they would be mentoring or teaching.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
so a lot of people are interested in the teaching elective for those reasons. Are you interested in research at all?
Yes. Like I actually, for DePaul University, our senior year, we spend, at least for kinesiology, the whole year doing a research project.
That's great.
And the one that I'm really interested in doing is how ankle stability exercises affect a person's running gait.
Oh,
Yes. So I'm trying to see if I can get that approved and be able to work on it next year.
that's awesome. We just hired a woman who is doing a lot of biomechanical gait analysis. And she is looking at people who are trying to return to sport after knee injuries.
Okay.
And she actually works with the Olympic Committee and is working with the figure skaters. So
Wow.
we're really excited to have her on board. But as far as research, so DPT programs are required to do the research side of things and the clinical side of things, which of course we are too. But people who are interested in going much deeper into research than just like the evidence-based science that supports the therapies that you're recommending, we have options for that. Our department is the second highest producer of articles, and
Wow.
we have so many labs, and yeah, we're cited all the time. Our faculty are #1 in articles per faculty, #2 in citations, #1 in scholarly research. So if that's an area that you're interested in diving in farther, you have that opportunity. So this is how it works. We have the core DPT program, and then we have these optional elective certificates. So research is one of them. I have it that they're listed during year 2, but these certificates are really a lot. They're a lot of work. So they're maybe 22 hours of classwork, which is a lot to put on top of a DPT degree. So not everybody, it's not for everybody. But it's an excellent offering to differentiate yourself as a graduate of a DPT program, to say, oh, and I also have this certificate in research or any of these other things. So what some students do is they pick and choose different courses, and they take just a few select ones and don't get the entire research certificate or whatever certificate. Some students, they start right in that first year, and they take a class to help them as they get along. So instead of waiting until the second year, it's all different, but we really want you to concentrate on your DPT first and foremost. But some students have done this, and yeah, so the first one that we have is the research certificate. The second thing is not a certificate, and it is only in year 2. It's called the LEND Fellowship, and it's for students interested in neurodevelopmental disabilities like autism. And 15 different disciplines come together to participate in this LEND Fellowship. So students from OT, PT, public health, disability, and psychology, yeah, all different come together, and they do maybe some research, they do some clinical work, they might do some outreach, they might publish something. They actually get paid, so that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And so a lot of students apply for this LEND fellowship, and one time we had 3 PT students involved in it, and they have loved it, and it really is a differentiator on your resume. It's great leadership skills and interprofessional skills as well.
So it's very like selective in who ends up being a LEND fellowship.
Yeah, you have to apply for the program.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have the Healthy Living Practitioner Certificate, and this is something that came out because the head of our department is very interested in health span. Health span is different than lifespan, is how long a person lives. Health span is how long they live healthfully. So he has teamed up with the American Heart Association to develop this certificate. It's pretty new. I think it's in its third year, maybe second year.
Oh, wow.
And it's largely online, so healthcare practitioners of all kinds can take it while they're working, for example. But so we offer it as a certificate to DPT students, and it's meeting this need. So people see their doctors maybe once a year, and 30% of that population say that their doctors have recommended any nutrition or exercise programs. So that's like horrible, right?
Yeah.
So if you as a physical therapist are seeing somebody who has shoulder pain, and you're helping them with their shoulder and their movement, you notice though that they're a smoker, or that they are very obese, you can, through what you're learning in the Healthy Living Practitioner Certificate, feel empowered to talk to them about healthy living intervention plans to help them with, things that maybe are contributing to their shoulder pain, and will increase their health span. So you learn things about nutrition, change behavior counseling. You hear about health literacy, about technology, all different, physical activity prescriptions in this certificate. So some students, one of our students in her 2-week clinical experience had a clinical instructor at her site that was mentoring her, who was like super interested in this certificate. And so our student is like, oh, I better take some of those courses while they're free, while I'm paying full-time tuition.
Right.
So she started to take a bunch of them. And that's perfectly fine. So like I said, you could pick and choose which ones you want to take. And then after you graduate, you could finish it up. Or, well, then after you graduate, you'd have to pay for the courses, but you could take a bunch while you're here.
Okay.
So that's very popular. And then the last certificate here is technology-based health communication and promotion. And if you find yourself saying the same things to many of your patients, then this might be a useful way for you to develop a online presence or a podcast or something like that. The certificate is really tailored to what you're interested in doing. So students that are wanting to develop their own clinic, for example, have taken this certificate to help them get started and have a web presence. So really useful. Okay, then we move to year 3, and there are three-month-long clinical education experiences in year 3, and there's also wrapped around those experiences some capstone courses. One of the courses is case studies. So the case studies help you with going deep into a subject, and they actually help you in your clinical experiences, and students have said it's also been helpful in their licensing exam to do the case studies. And then you also have a professional development course. Well, you have those throughout your 3-year, but they'll do things like mock interviews and resume writing, and they finish the course with a Shark Tank kind of thing where, like, a couple of our students actually developed a product that would help patients with balance. So they presented that to the sharks. I'm not sure if they actually did go out and develop it, but that was cool. Some students present their business plan that they're planning to, if they're planning to open their own shop. Other students were working with firefighters, and they noticed, oh, they're climbing under tables and through windows, and so they put together a video of how to do this in the best possible way. So, so a lot of ideas and creativity there, but those are the capstone courses. But the year 3 is primarily the clinical education experiences. There's 1 inpatient that's required and 1 adult outpatient. And I asked about where you had done your shadowing hours, because if you've done like almost all your hours, or a heavy amount of hours at, say, Athletico or something, you wouldn't be able to have your clinical experience at any Athletico, because you already know, like, how do they document, how do they, it's like you already know, and we want you to have a different experience, a learning experience. And yeah, so it's kind of like getting a letter of reference from your mom. You don't want to do that.
So a lot of it is you have the students basically expand their horizons with who they see as their clients and everything, and their patients.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, these experiences are your education, so they're really important to get a wide variety, a good breadth.
I like that. That's really cool.
So this is when they are. We had to bring a couple of our students home from Italy early this spring, but they had already met their requirements, so yeah. Okay, so this is how it works. So some people ask me, do I get paid for my clinical experiences? And no, you get to pay. This is your education. You're going to be graded. So not only do you pay for the tuition, but there may be other expenses involved. So you might have to travel. There might be some additional background checks or health screens that need to happen. If you're living in the city, you might need to get a car to go to your space, have different living arrangements. So just be prepared, I guess.
Okay.
So this is how it works. We have relationships, and think like contractual, they took a long time to develop, with over 400 sites across the country. So
wow.
For your specific clinical experience, you won't have to choose between 400 sites, which is a good thing because you can really get into like analysis paralysis about where would be best for you. So what we do is we tell those sites, oh, this is the 2-week clinical, students don't have much experience. This is the last clinical and they're ready to go out into the field. And our sites raise their hand and say, hey, we can take 5 students, we can take 2 students. Oh, this year we can't take anybody. So then you have a real list of sites for your particular clinical that's coming up. And we give you a ton of information about that site, what kind of work they do. Students have filled out evaluation questionnaires and give you little tips. Oh, I would stay here. Or, you know, they tell you about the site and their experience as well. So then you put together a list of, let's say, 15 sites, your wish list that you would like to go to. And depending on that pool of sites that are available, we might say, oh, you have to put 3 out of state or really far away places on your list. So, and then it goes through an algorithm, and a lot of the sites are in the Midwest. I would say 75% of our students get in their top 5 on their list, but wow, there's no guarantee. you have to be prepared to go anywhere.
Right. So,
yeah, and any experience that you have is going to be a good one. So, yeah, so students have traveled all over. We almost always have Hawaii as an option on our list, but it's not like Starbucks on the beach, Hawaii. It's a real rural setting, but students rave about their experiences there. And then for that final clinical experience, when you're about ready to graduate, you have an opportunity to go internationally. We have sites in Sweden, Hong Kong, Italy. These you have to have demonstrated strong capability before you can go abroad. But yeah, it's very exciting. One of our students wasn't able to speak the language and wanted to have a good interpersonal relationship with his patients. So he, even though he had a medical translator, he developed a bunch of flashcards before he went, and that worked out well for him.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not something you have to do, but that was one thing. One of our students also, she was from New Jersey, and she decided for this 3rd year, she wouldn't get an apartment in Chicago. She would accept a site anywhere in the country, and she just Airbnb wherever she went. So that worked for her.
Wow. I have one question. So do you have to travel and, let's say, go somewhere that's far away from home? Does the graduate program help out with living expenses, or is that all on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, that's part of the loans. Okay, so I think that's true of all programs too. It's not unique to UIC.
Right.
Okay, so have you looked at all at PTCAS?
Yes.
I feel like, go ahead.
Like I'm always looking at also the APTA website, where it shows the prerequisites for every program, average GRE scores, what you need to do to apply to some graduate schools and everything.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I feel like you need a master's degree just to apply to the programs. They're so complex, and it's, but it is what it is. So I heard PTCAS was going to open up the application process June 17th, so you can get a start on stuff.
Okay.
But you still can't submit an application until July 1st. But anyway, everything goes to PTCAS, all of your transcripts and letters of recommendation. So everything goes there. We require 2 letters of recommendation. We'd like one of them to be from a PT, but we accept up to 4. And I really recommend, if you can get up to 4, to do that if they are individualized and personalized. So what I would do is go to a person and say, I'm asking you to write a letter of recommendation for me because we shared whatever experience together. And I learned so much from you. I learned this. I hope you saw this, this, and this in me. And so you have a list of 3 skills. And then to another person, I hope you saw this, this, and this, a different set of 3 skills. And so the more of those that you can do, the broader a picture of what you can bring to the table will come forth. Also, any skill you have will apply to life as a physical therapist, right? Because you're working with people, you have to make decisions. Yeah, anything you do is going to apply as a skill for physical therapy. And then we'll have an essay question, a very broad essay question. What we're looking for there is that you speak the language of physical therapy. You know what you're getting into. And we want to see that you're passionate about it, but some people are turned off by, I'm passionate because of this. And it would be better if you could tell a specific story about something that you saw a PT do or something that demonstrates your passion rather than just say you're passionate.
Okay.
There's also this year going to be an essay or a question to let you explain how COVID has impacted your application. So your observation hours, for example, would be something to cite in there.
Okay.
Yeah. Also on our website, we have included in the before you apply page a bunch of things that, like online labs are going to be okay, and online GRE. There's an at-home GRE now. Mm-hmm. So all those are acceptable.
Okay.
During this time.
Yeah, I was actually surprised when they said that you could take the GRE at home.
I know. Don't cheat.
Oh, definitely not.
Okay, you also have to complete an application for UIC. It's a formality, so like don't worry about all your transcripts and stuff going there. We get those through PTCAS. Then you have to take the GRE. We take a super score, so if you plan to take it more than once, that could be beneficial for you. We take the best of each section. be careful to be sure that you are using the correct code for the GRE. We have a lot of different codes, and they don't come to us unless you use this one, 7784. We require a minimum of 40 hours of physical therapy observation. But with COVID, if you fill out that question, you could maybe get around it. Hopefully you can get your minimums in August and September if you're feeling stretched there. Because we really do like to see a variety of hours. So
Okay.
if you can, that would be good. And then I think it would also be helpful to put in your planned observation hours in case you're not able to actually have them before you submit your application. Okay, and then the prerequisite courses all need to be completed with a C or better. We are accepting credit, no credit, pass, fail, but we prefer grades. We really, grades will help us make a decision much better. So I would advise you not to take that option.
Okay.
Do you have questions about the prerequisite courses?
Yes. So over this summer, I'm gonna have to take 3 of my required courses. One of them being calculus, physics 2, and I want to retake organic chemistry as well.
Okay.
Mainly because I took it freshman year of college, and I didn't realize how hard it would be, especially since I came with a not really strong foundation in chemistry.
Yeah.
So I pulled a C in the class, but I know I could do better, so that's why I want to retake it.
It sounds like a good plan.
Okay. I heard from my sister, because she's an occupational therapy school in California. Do you guys need all prerequisite courses completed before applications are submitted, or can they be completed before you start the program?
So we allow up to 3 prerequisites to be outstanding when you apply.
Okay.
But the grades of those courses are going to be like your organic chemistry course. If you don't retake it, we're going to take your C.
Okay.
To create our prerequisite GPA. And that will be, and if you do retake it, then we average those courses. We don't take the best. But there's a question in PTCAS, something to the effect of, do these grades reflect my abilities? And there would be a perfect option to say, as a freshman figuring everything out, that this wasn't, but now you can see I've improved, and so that would be an option to put in there.
Okay.
Yeah. So summer courses this summer only. It seems like your physics and chemistry we will take as online courses.
Okay.
And calculus we always took online.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, because I also took physics 1. It wasn't an online course, but it was at a community college here in Chicago. So thank you so much for answering those questions.
Also, if you wanted to apply without having physics, you can do that as well.
Oh, really?
And then you could take it in your senior year it has to be taken before you matriculate, but
Okay.
that would be an option to have all your courses except physics, for example.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, UIC is, I think, the only DPT school that actually tells you how we do our admissions process. So, so this is how it works. Last year we got, I think, 850 or so applications for 60 seats. So 150 or so of them didn't complete their application all the way. Maybe they didn't send their GRE to the right place, or they decided not to apply, or who knows. So throw them away. And then we have 700, say. And we look at that application pool, and we only look at their grades and scores, and we take the top performers of the application pool. So that's why it's like hard to say what's our minimum score, because we just take the top of whatever presents. So
Okay.
if you can make it through that filter, which is why I would recommend to retake your organic chemistry, then you can, then we look at everything about you. We want to interview you. We look at, did you get your anatomy and physiology at a 4-year school? Did you work while you went to school, or were you an athlete while you went to school, so that you have a lot of different balls in the air and can still do well in school, because a PT's life is really busy, and we want to see that you can manage all that. Did you do some volunteer work? Do you speak another language? Well, you know, whatever, all these other factors. So those are listed in that guide I sent you, so that you can see what are those other factors.
Okay.
Okay, this is also on that last page of that packet. This is also in that packet, and it helps you it's the exact same way that PT-CAS will accept your observation hours. So it just helps you to get organized ahead of time.
Okay.
This is our tuition, which we feel like is a real selling point. Even though, yeah. Okay, so you got into DPT school, you're off to be a DPT, you passed your licensing exam. You can go off and be a DPT, hooray. And most people do that. Some people want to pursue a PhD in addition to their DPT. Some people want to specialize in a specific area of their DPT field. And so they look to become a resident. Because if you're a general DPT, it could take you up to 3 years to get all of the hours of the specific types of specialty that you want to get and be supervised, and then take your credentialing exam. So that's why some students go directly into a residency after their license. And because it condenses, our residency is 13 months. So in a year, they are getting all those hours on that specific field of specialty, and then they take their exam and they pass it 100% of the time and get their specialty. Wow. So a lot of people do this. I'm not suggesting that you do or anything, but I bring it up because the residency happens at our faculty practice. And those professors that are teaching in the residency are also professors in the DPT program. So it just tells you the extent to which they're qualified and how close they are to the field. So
Wow.
UIC offers 2 different residencies right now, one in orthopedics and another in sports. We're the only sports residency in Illinois. And we just finished our first year, or will finish our first year of a sports therapy residency program. So it's very exciting. We also are looking at other areas of residency to offer as well. But I feel like it's a good thing to know that we're doing that right here.
That's amazing, honestly.
So we don't take just UIC DPT graduates. People apply to our program from all across the country. And we have 3 orthopedic residents and 1 sports resident. So yeah, we're excited about it.
Wow. Okay.
Also, the residents themselves are extra hands and guides in the DPT program. So you have a hands-on class of 60 students. One professor can't really get to everybody, so the residents often come in and help teach different courses as well.
Wow. Okay. Help.
Okay, these are just a lot of the things we talked about that we're really strong in. Have you been to the UIC campus at all?
Yes, I visited UIC, I want to say a few times, and I went there a lot in high school because one of the tutors that I had for physics, they were a UIC student, and I think they were working on getting their doctorate in physics as well. So, so it was pretty cool. I like the campus. It's actually pretty close to home. All I have to do is hop on the orange line and then get on the red line, get off at Roosevelt, and then I'm right there.
Right. Okay. We're going to go on a little tour. So you were probably on the East Campus, I'm guessing then.
Yes.
Where the undergrads are. We have 20,000 undergrads at UIC and 10,000 graduates. So they're in 2 different campuses. The East Campus sounds like where you were, also very easy to get to. Mm-hmm. We don't spend a lot of time there, but
okay.
So we're more on the West Campus. So let's take a look. So if you're familiar with Chicago, Damon Avenue and Taylor Street is where our building is. We have a lot of classes here,
okay.
but it's not the sole place. So the AHS building is Applied Health Sciences. There's a number of floors, and aside from PT, we have in this building OT, that EVIS department that I was talking about, and kinesiology and nutrition are here. A number of our labs are here, but not all of them. Yeah, I think that's all that's here. And then I took this the day before the shutdown, so there aren't many bikes here. Often this bike rack is filled. People are taking bikes, skateboarding. Even our department head is on a skateboard to get to school.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, but if you're going to commute, do you think you would live at home while you
Uh,
go to school?
as far as expenses go, most likely, but that's also a conversation that I could have with my parents later on.
Yeah. Well, people that commute, there's a parking lot not too far away, $2 a day, which you can't find anywhere in
Wow.
Chicago.
Yeah, that's amazing.
There's also a lot of places to hang out and study, vending machines, get something to snack on. Outside of our building, we have a garden that the Kinesin Nutrition department manages. They win awards every year. It looked pretty drab, but this is an artichoke that was growing there this summer.
Wow.
So it's nice to be able to have your lunch out there, and it's just nice.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so our department is on the 4th floor. This is one of our classrooms. It's big, so it's all 60 students can fit in there. In the back is tables and toys and all the stuff you need. One of our optional things that we offer is I talked about the BViz department. We've teamed up with that professor who offers optional, it's called visual note taking, to go with the anatomy course, because we want every way possible for you to get the information into you. So if visual note taking will help you to have yet another method to get this into you, then we want you to have that. So you don't have to be an artist. Your notes are really just for your information. You can share them if you want, but one of our students really took it to heart and donated some of her artwork, which is on the walls in this classroom.
Wow.
And also there's a breakout room, a lab where you might have time to practice with other students. We know as a department, as educators, that there's a lot of ways to learn. So one way to learn is you tell somebody something. Another way is you tell them and then they do it, and that is great. They learned it a lot better. And then there's a third way where you tell them, they do it, and then they teach it. And that is really a great way to learn. So while the program is really competitive to get into, once you're in the program, we have your back. Your classmates have your back. You have their back. It's just everybody works together. I mean, you're going to be colleagues at some point, and so yeah, it's just, we want you to be prepared and know what you're getting into. So the second year students will become a buddy for first year students, and you can ask them anything and they help you out. They also offer, oh, you have an exam coming up, they'll offer a review session. They may do it in this room and put you through the paces and make sure you're to ask you all the questions and make sure that you are ready for your exam. So that helps you and it helps them. When they teach it, they know it.
That's really cool. I like that.
Yeah, so this is some of our students working on each other. I don't know if it was elbow or shoulder, but upper body. This is what you look like at the end of the program. Not really. Students are super charged up and they can't wait to get out and be a PT. They're very excited, but it sometimes may feel like this.
Oh, I bet.
All right, so these are the clinical settings that you might find yourself in, and they're largely in the Midwest, but like I said, we do have Hawaii and we do have international sites as well. Yeah, this is some more of the artwork that student donated. And then we have this chart up to help you know the breakout of the different classes. So yeah, I think it's interesting that this year, the first year students are 50% male, 50% female. We've never had that before.
Wow, that's like dead on.
And this is the largest class that is commuting. So if you stay at home, that totally works. The third years who are getting ready to graduate, they are the largest group that had a previous career before they started the DPT program. So like I said, we get all kinds of people, teachers. We had a PhD in astronomy in that class. Yeah, all different. And I feel like it really helps the class dynamic to have that variety. We had one person who was an auto mechanic.
Wow.
He had been doing a lot of repetitive motions and wrecked his health. And he got physical therapy, lost a bunch of weight, and got in great shape, became a physical trainer on his way to getting all his prereqs to get to DPT school. He graduated, I don't know, 1 or 2 years ago, and now he's a body mechanic.
Wow. That's an amazing story right there. I want to keep that in mind.
Yeah, so talk about determination.
Yeah, honestly.
You can do it too, Arturo.
Yeah, that's the hope. I'm putting in that work as much as I can.
Okay, so beyond your DPT courses, there's other stuff you have to do. Well, one is you have to have fun. That's the basketball shooting award that this student got. But yeah, you maybe have to plan your fun a little bit more, but you definitely have to fit it in. And then aside from that, there are, in the course of your not quite 3-year program, you have to develop a portfolio. And the portfolio needs to address 5 different areas and that are representative of what a PT would need. And you develop with your advisor things that you want to do in those areas to demonstrate your competency or interest in it. And if you don't have things that you want to do, we offer areas that you can fulfill these requirements in, but they're, you know, all self-directed, self-initiated, and then your advisor sort of approves and oversees them. So one is in social responsibility. A lot of our students are going to a clinic, I think it's in Indiana actually, but it's not far away, where they babysit kids who have disabilities and their siblings, and then the caregivers get a night out. So everybody loves that. Loves that job. We have, there's APTA, which you've looked at their website, but there's also the Illinois IPTA, and we have had students who have had leadership roles in that area. So for professional development purposes, they've been president, vice president, treasurer. That's an area that you could pursue if you are interested in. There's a number of interprofessional collaborations that you can do as well. This is actually a role play scenario with a neighboring college who are training PT aides, and they're going through, okay, this is the situation, the doctor does this, the PT does this, the PT aide, you know, what do you do? Anyway, so there's stuff like that. And then there's a ton in the area of prevention and wellness as well. So, oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
So one of the things that we offer is actually, it's a course. So, but it also fulfills some of the portfolio areas. We have, it's called a Health and Wellness Academy, where we have an elementary school nearby that our students or whoever takes this course, which can be even undergrad students, graduate students, all different disciplines, they come and they basically do kind of like an after school program where they try different menus of things, and then they do different movement games, and then they end the semester with sort of like a science fair thing where they show their families, this was my favorite recipe, or this was my favorite movement thing.
Oh.
and they actually become really health and wellness ambassadors to their families and their peers. So it's a fun thing if you're interested in working with kids or getting more experience with the population.
Yeah, I like that because I've always wanted to do something where like you teach kids about either physical therapy and how you can use exercise as medicine in life.
Exactly.
So that's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we're here, and then we're walking down the block, and we're right in the medical district. So, sorry. Part of your tuition you get in your tuition is the fitness center. So this is like really across the street. It's so close. So it's, there's a pool there. You can get a workout in. It's great. It's maybe not as many bells and whistles as the one on the East Campus with the climbing wall and stuff, but it's still good. And then right next door is the student center. There's one on the East Campus and on the West Campus. So most of our students bring their lunch, but there's always the time where you don't, and you can get whatever comfort food or health food that you're interested in the student center. There's also a bookstore there too. Okay, now we're gonna keep going a little bit and get to the medical College of Medicine, the West Tower. So this is where the cadaver lab is. We can never go into the cadaver lab, so no problem there. It's on the 7th floor. We call it Seventh Heaven. So remember that professor, we asked her, if you could have a lab of your dreams, what would that look like? And since our lab looks like that, she is here. So it's actually run by the College of Medicine, but it's the largest lab in the country, and and the cadavers are dedicated to the PT program. But because it's run by the College of Medicine, our students are afforded opportunities that they might not otherwise have had. So you can participate in workshops like we've had in the past around organ donation, organ harvesting, and embalming. One of our students was just so excited because she was able to hold the person's heart, and it just was really, she was over the moon. If that's your thing.
Haven't done it before.
It's not everyone's thing. Okay, so now we're going across down a bit. And like I said, it's the medical district. So there's the Cook County Hospital right across the street. The architecture of the campus is very beautiful and nice. I'm often asked about safety in the area, and we have a night ride service and a safety app so somebody can follow you as you're walking on your way home. It feels very safe. Our students will tell you it feels very safe. Mm-hmm. But of course you want to, you know, be aware of your surroundings, walk in pairs. We have had some students not have the good locks on their bikes and they've gotten stolen. But really it feels, I live in the area, and while I'm not out at 2 in the morning, I don't think other people are either.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna head to the library. Some people are library people. Other people are coffee shop people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see here, but here's the elevated train. It's the pink line right there. Mm-hmm. So super close and convenient. The blue line's a little farther, but it's really good. So when you get accepted,
yeah. I love the optimism.
So you have to apply by October 1st. You have to submit your application by October 1st, but I really recommend doing that early September. Do it before your semester starts, and submit your application. Then the earlier you submit it and get verified, the earlier you'll get your interview option. And so that happens, and then at the end of December we tell you whether you've been accepted, put on our wait list, or denied. If you've been denied, it's probably because you didn't make it through that filter of all the applicants. But so after that, then in January, we offer an open house, and students themselves give the tours. You hear from our faculty. And then you have to make a decision and put a deposit down. And so after that, when the class forms, someone in the class generally puts together a Facebook group for the class. And that Facebook group, people are like, oh, I need a roommate, or I'm new to Chicago, I don't know where to live. And, so that happens. And then that Facebook group stays with them throughout their time at DPT school, maybe even after, I don't know. But so they will say, oh, I'm at the library and I'm studying for our exams, and we want to join me, and then the whole class comes over. But the library, the staff is great if you need help with research or really just anything. And there's private spaces and all sorts of stuff. They used all the medical equipment to make this sculpture.
Wow. It's a lot cooler than the library at my school.
Yeah, if you're a library person. A lot of people like the coffee shops. Okay, so kitty corner to this is the the College of Medicine, the East Tower. It's a really, I love the architecture and the old style. It's a lot of stairs though. We're up on the 6th floor, and here's another 60-person classroom. All of our classrooms have the beds and tools that are needed for a PT group. So either the first year or the second year would be here, and then the other first or second year would be at the other building in that other classroom. And then the third years, they're generally out at their clinicals.
Oh.
So we also have a lab at that in that area on that floor, and this is where you get a lot of hands-on. So in the second year, almost all of your classes are hands-on. You're doing physical therapy. Your exams are physical therapy on a physical therapist, so they know if you're doing it right. So yeah, and it's a great year and experience, all different. The program is challenging in different ways each year, but students love the hands-on. They really do. And then some people ask me about, well, what about the professors? Like, how many are on your core faculty? And I feel like it's, like, I could answer that, but it doesn't really answer the question, because if there's an area that the professors are not so well trained in, they can just dip into our hospital next door and say, hey, you're doing this every day. Will you please come and talk to our students and show them? And so we have an excellent extended faculty in our neighboring hospital. And this lab has all the tools and toys that you need as well. I don't know if you can see, there's 30 beds for 60 students. So
wow, that's awesome.
you're encouraged to team up with a different person, so you get a different body type, a different gender. Yeah, but students hang out here. It's a great break room. The facility is available 24 hours with your swipe card. So that's helpful. I forgot to mention the cadaver lab is also available to you 24 hours, but it is closed on Halloween and Christmas.
That's understandable.
All right, so you can see it's only like a 2-block rectangle that we're on. We're gonna go back to Taylor Street. And that's where the hospital is. I'll often see our students. So the hospital could be one of your clinical sites that you do your 3-month clinical at. And I'll often see our students helping a patient with their mobility, and they'll be walking through that big glass thing. I'm like, hi. If that's you, Arturo, don't wave back. You have to pay attention to your patient.
Got you.
Yeah, the UIC, they keep the grounds up really nice. They win sustainability awards all the time. And these are a few neighborhoods that students live in if they are interested. They're right nearby. Wicker Park is a bit of a commute, but Tri-Taylor and Pilsen are really
Pretty
close and
close.
affordable. And housing, if you do decide to live on campus, it's just such a wide range of rent, depending on how many roommates you have and how close to public transportation you are. Some students have a lot of roommates. They pay $500 a month. Others, one I know rooms with his dog and he pays like $1,400 a month.
Oh, wow.
And then we also have a student housing right where the student center is. And so that's an option too that some of our students take. So, but it's all different. Okay, now we're gonna walk to the faculty practice. It's a bit of a ways, but it's the farthest that we go before going back. It's not named faculty practice. It's housed in the Disability Health and Social Policy building. But it is the faculty practice there, and it's on the 3rd floor. So one of the things that our program is interested in, and UIC as a whole, is social responsibility. So we see a lot of underserved populations. Mm-hmm. And we feel like that's a real benefit to our program because our students get to see these really difficult cases. And if they can feel comfortable in those environments and be able to help in those environments, they're going to knock it out of the park in an easier situation. Right? So we feel like it's really laying the groundwork for what you are getting prepared for. And our clinical instructors tell us that they want UIC students, and that's one of the reasons, because they can see all different patients and be able to relate to them and help them. So yeah, that's typical in the faculty practice.
Yeah, I have no idea. It looks like a treadmill. I have no idea what that cover is for, though.
So it is a treadmill. It's an anti-gravity treadmill. So helpful for if you have knee injuries. Yeah. So we have really cool equipment.
Wow. That just blew me away.
Yeah, but it's also, so the faculty practice, as I said, is PTs, but they're residents as well. So they're seeing athletes, UIC athletes a lot, as well as the population at large. So they have a lot of equipment, and these are normally private rooms, but we had to shut down.
Yeah.
So we closed off the curtains and yeah.
Yeah, it looks like one of the ATI facilities that I went to.
Yeah, it's a great facility, and a lot of great people. So another thing that is happening at the faculty practice is cardiac rehab. So if you have a cardiac event like heart surgery and your cardiologist recommends cardiac rehab, what percentage of the population do you think participate in that rehab?
Probably not that much. Like, as far as I know a lot of people, from what I've heard, after they get heart surgery, they go on to this little bout of improvement, but then they go back to their old lifestyle, and then that's where it leads in.
Yeah. Well, across the country, it's 10%. You're right. It's not much. It's
Wow.
unfathomable to me. I don't get it at all. You go through heart surgery and then you don't do what your doctor recommends. I don't get it.
It's a vicious cycle.
So we have cardiac rehab at our faculty practice, and we've just expanded it because our cardiac rehab, we are experiencing 70% participation. So it's amazing. We think it's because the location, it's right in the same area that they see their cardiologist. That we offer also dietitians and nutrition support. And then we provide the cardiac rehab right there. And so they can see other people getting better, and they get sort of the community support from each other to participate. So, I mean, this is amazing. This is the real deal. And so we offer the general prescribed cardiac rehab, but then we offer our patients to participate in a monthly ongoing program that they pay for. It's a small fee. And UIC DPT students can oversee that monthly ongoing thing. So that could be one of your portfolio projects, for example.
Wow.
Okay, so we're heading back. I think that's the end of what I had to share. But I did want to say a couple things. So one of our students was on her first 3-month-long clinical education experience, and she felt prepared, but she was, nervous. And she asked her patient to stand up so she could do her evaluation. So the patient stood up and then immediately fell down. She had blown out her Achilles. And it was it was a major event. So all the nurses, the doctors, they took care of it. The student, she's like, what'd I do?
Yeah.
And of course, she didn't do anything wrong, but she did learn a lot about the Achilles. And so she did her case study on the Achilles, and she was able to help her classmates also learn a lot about the Achilles. So that was good. Another student, he came into PT school already like, I want to be a golf PT. I'm golf. That's my thing. And so we train people to be generalist PTs.
Right.
and he maybe wasn't so interested in some of the pediatrics or some of the other stuff. And he's like, I'm golf. So he went on and he had his clinical experiences, and they weren't golf. But he came to the realization, oh my gosh, there are kid golfers. There are golfers that have neuro. So he was able to successfully complete the program and pass his licensing exam, but I imagine he still went into golf. Yeah. But we do encourage people to keep an open mind, because really any clinical experience you have, you're going to learn from and have a good experience from. So even those wish lists, don't stress out about them so much, because whatever you get it'll be what you get, and it's fine.
Yeah, definitely.
Another thing about the type of patients that you might see. So Yeah, I talked about the type of patient at the faculty practice, but
Hmm.
you may also encounter people who are incarcerated.
Hmm.
That happens. One of our students was doing her clinical experience with the cast and crew of Hamilton. That could happen.
What? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. She said she went in even when she wasn't supposed to. It was like so exciting. So yeah, so all different. You might see kids in a pool and work in the water with them. Yeah, veterans I talked about. You might see people who don't speak English.
Hmm.
So I was bringing people on a tour to the faculty practice, and there was 2 DPT students who were doing their 2-week clinical experience. And there was the patient, and then there was the PT. The PT was actually a resident, but he was a PT.
Hmm.
And they were all speaking Spanish. So I think they were doing a good job. I don't know. But
Good
so
thing
that was really good. And I'm sorry I can't have you speak with students, but I think
that's okay.
you would find that they really get along well with each other. They are working together, they're working hard, they're all super interested in what they're doing, and they love the program. They talk a lot about how excellent the professors are. They get back to you right away. They're, yeah.
Okay. You know, it's funny too because one of the physical therapists that I went to see for shoulder impingement, he was a graduate of UIC's physical therapy.
Who is that? Is that a
Uh,
recent graduate?
no, it was a while ago.
Oh, and I
Like,
probably wouldn't know.
yeah, but yeah, he said he really liked it, and he recommended that I look into it more. So I was like, hey, thank you.
Yeah. Well, I know you have a lot of schools to choose from, and it's not easy to figure it out, but
Right.
yeah. Well, you have my email, so if
Mhm.
there's any questions that you have, that's totally fine, and send me an email. And then I should show you the this last thing. So this is the physical therapy website before you apply, and this is the exceptions that will be made for this last thing.
Okay.
This, in case that it's affecting everyone.
Yeah, apparently they're saying that it might even go into the fall. So I was
Yeah,
like, oh,
yeah.
no.
I don't know what's gonna happen, but yeah, that's life.
Yeah, all we can hope for is that it gets better soon.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, I did have one question. So as far as your retention rates go, um, how would you say that is?
Yeah, we do really well.
Hmm.
90%. We post that also on our website. So let's see if I can share that again. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah.
Every school has to post that on their website.
Okay. Well, thank you
Just,
so much.
just so you know.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for this advising session. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for agreeing to be recorded, so
Mhm.
this could help other people potentially.
Yeah, no problem. Definitely.
All right, take care.
All right, you too. Stay safe out there.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.